Today we want to show you and share with you the advantages of our KPI dashboard running on SAP Analytics Cloud, talked about KPIs and how to streamline and simplify the warehouse operations. So why are we bringing our KPI dashboards to our customers? Is that we want our customers to start with a digital transformation and to move on from the traditional static boards over to the online control centers. So move away from manual outputs and static snapshots, and to start with responsive and online data and proactively react on that. So what we will talk about today is to show some use cases. We will talk. We mentioned some important warehouse KPIs. We will show the analytics application demo, and we can discuss how the SAP Analytics Cloud can help with running your warehouse. So why actually? What are the biggest benefits of the KPI dashboards? So the major benefit is that we can monitor online and watch the situations in the warehouse and see when the bottlenecks can arise and can they start. So we have a right information on the right time and the right place, and seeing the live customizable alerts at the right time, and integrating the correct source data from backend systems. We can set up configurable tiles, which can be assigned to relevant roles to the organization, and thus allowing people to react quickly. And one of the biggest benefits of SAP Analytics is that it allows us to display all the above information in the right context by comparing to historical values and allowing us to actually see whether we are good or bad at the very moment. So now I would like to quickly hand over to my colleagues, Florian.
Thank you, Peter. So the main question would be, why did we choose SAP Analytics Cloud as a platform for this dashboard? And the main reason actually for this decision, there are a lot of reasons and we'll run through all of them, but the main reason for us was to be able to have one tool where you can pull data on one single dashboard from different sources. So you could have EWM as a source, you could add ECC data, you could even add data from non-SAP systems or classical database systems. So this is really helpful because then you really can get a holistic view of what we're doing. The other thing that the SAP Analytics Cloud offers, and we should never forget, this is a cloud-based system hosted by SAP, and it's on a HANA database in the background. So we have very fast analytics there. So we can simply collect raw data from the systems and analyze and aggregate them there and do drill downs to line item level if we want to. The good thing is it's a cloud system that helps us to give people access that perhaps classically don't really would have access or that would need to connect via a VPN. Gives us the possibility to scale the system however we want it to be scaled. So we can rather scale up if we need it, but we could even scale down if we decide to perhaps not use the full functionality anymore or to reduce data volumes. The good thing about Analytics Cloud is it was designed to run on very big, let's say 30-inch touch screens, for example, you could have in your warehouse control center, for example, but it's as well possible to run it on an iOS device like an iPhone or an iPad Pro. So it's really made for certain devices that can be really used to either use it mobile or use it very stationary. And the good thing is it's not a complicated tool, so you don't need a lot of programming. Once you have the data model, you as a business user can customize the visualization and dashboards you see, and it as well supports collaboration. But before I tell you more about the tool, let's jump into the demo with Peter.
Thank you, Florian. So now let's have a look on our KPI dashboard itself. So first, I want to show the main overview screen, which holds major key figures and showing the major processes like outbound and inbound. So what we see on the screen is the main overview screen, showing basically all the major KPIs together. So we can organize the tiles, we can add some KPIs or remove some KPIs. What we can actually see is an actual online value from the backend system. What we can see is a configurable color scale, and we can see this small black bar which shows the actual value. Where are we right now? We can also roll our mouse over the individual elements, and we can get some additional data. So showing the bit more details about the major KPIs. On the main screen, we are showing the one KPI from each area, and then you can see on the upper part of the screen we have more tabs showing links to inbound, outbound, stock situation, and the overall efficiency. Now what I can do is I can click on the tile, and for example, when I click on the warehouse capacity, I can get on a sub-screen with more details, with more detailed tile showing the relevant more detailed data. So the major overview screens allows us to quickly identify the problem in the individual areas, and it also allows us to think outside of the box, so we can have the data available at any point of time, and it also defines and helps us to define an ambiguous data set for the analysis. So how we define the KPIs is a big topic always. We know all that we have 6-7 major KPIs in the warehouse. We can have more, obviously. This is a small example how, for example, OTD or OTIF can be defined, and I would say one of the major KPI is the overall definition from when the customer places an order up to the final transportation or handing over to the carrier. And then obviously we can break down the key figure into individual steps, like how well can we pick, or how can we load stage, how can we do replenishment, etc. So this definition is very important because we have always a larger picture. So it's important to know how each KPI puts into the large picture, and helps us to understand for the whole process. So, for example, the picking accuracy and short near picks part of OTIF, and as I mentioned, the OTD can be broken down into the sub steps in the warehouse, like weight status, open deliveries, resource utilization, etc. And obviously, our KPI should be examined on a regular basis, so we can always do better. So now I just want to show you the example of the outbound KPI. So again, from the main overview screen, I can click on one of the outbound KPI, and I will get to the outbound KPI screen, which shows me more details. For example, the vehicle turnaround time, which is basically how long the vehicle stays in the warehouse, the time difference between check-in, check-out. It shows me how many cases or how many cartons, how many pallets my warehouse picking. I can see obviously the picking status of each wave. So I can see either by wave or by delivery how many waves is open, which is in processing right now, how many waves or deliveries are completed. For example, I can see also the KPI for the pick error rate. So and there are also many other KPIs which are not mentioned in the demo, like back order or inventory force to sales, or for example, a cross-docking scenario where I can measure dock-to-dock time duration. So these are really just examples of what everything can be done to measure the outbound efficiency. So just to summarize, so each tile has a detailed view. We can define the each tile can be dedicated to a specific role and placed in specific spots in the warehouse. So the relevant people have access to relevant information, and we don't need that much of overhead communication. Okay, so now again, let me hand over to Florian for a while.
Yes, let me quickly share my screen with you. So the question that I want to talk about is, we all know dashboards from, let's say, the last years, and there have been a lot of these how to implement dashboards technically, and they show nice figures, and that's very good. But the problem is, how do we work with them? How's the process of working with them, and how can they really make let's say, our enterprise-wide learning a bit better? So let's imagine you have a key figure and now it reaches its threshold. So your pick error rate for the day, for example, is far too high. So the question is, what do you do now? And the first question, of course, would be, who needs to know that and how do you reach that person in time? And that's something that's very, very important because, of course, that person needs to take a decision. So you need a tool that somehow supports that finding of the person. And of course, you need to make sure that can be done rather in time. So here we get back to our HANA things in the background that really help doing that in time. And of course, they need to be able to talk about. So you need a tool that helps people to work together to find the solution for the situation that you're having. Especially it's something where there is room for discussion, where there is no simple solution. There we need a place where we can really talk about what's going on. And of course, we need to make sure how can we preserve the things that we already know in the tool. And let me quickly give you a little live demo on how that can be done or which things support that in the Analytics Cloud. I have here my dashboard. You've already seen the overview. And the easiest thing is, of course, if I see a threshold that's been reached, I can click on a tile here and I can immediately place a comment and say, hey, let's check, for example, our inbound deliveries. There's something wrong. So the good thing is, you see here, it's already marked with a comment, and the colleague could immediately respond to it and simply tell me, hey, I've checked that. Here we have a problem that we may need to solve. I did already some things. It's stored in the dashboard. So whoever looks at it sees that there is already somebody working on it. So if I know somebody's already working on the solution, I don't need to spend time on working on it. And if I need to spend time, then I can be in charge. And if I need perhaps the help from another person, we have here the opportunity to really assign tasks based on what we see here to a person and really start chats with them, attach the corresponding links to parts of the dashboard in here, and as well give dates and make sure we can check when tasks are done. So the tool really supports us in knowing what to do and in collaborating with each other. And let's say for cases where we really need to preserve knowledge, we have special commenting features like we have it here for our stock situation. You really see here there is already a fixed comment in the dashboard dealing with a very well-known problem that may persist a few days. Yeah? And from there, we can really preserve as well a bit of knowledge there. So if we quickly go back to my presentation, what we've seen here is we have the chance to really use comments and messages to directly work with people based on the relevant data visualizations we've seen. We can schedule meetings via direct links from stories. We can, if you use the iOS app, you get those messages that are being sent to you via the platform directly popping up as notifications on your iPhone, for example. Unfortunately, this is right now not working with Android, but it's on the SAP roadmap. And right now we don't have a real possibility to really send it via email, but this is as well coming next year from what I heard, but SAP hasn't given a date yet. And this really allows us to really react rather fast on exceptions that we see, and it will reduce the overhead I have when I need to go to other systems, when I need to write emails, and it helps us a bit to preserve the learnings that we have. This is what I wanted to show. Let's get back to Peter.
Thank you, Florian. I'll just let me share my screen again. So what I would like to finish our demo with are the other KPIs we have prepared in our demo. I just want to share with you the real benefit of SAP Analytics. So, for example, we can see in the stock situation, there is a pie chart for inventory value. And that is very helpful in terms when we want to monitor, let's say, inventory value in a staging area currently, or let's say in a production location. So we know that the interfaces between, let's say, transportation or production teams are always source of some, or might be source of some dispute. So we can have a very good overview at any point. And also worth of mentioning the inventory turnover KPI, which basically compares the average inventory balance with the sales. So it's really we can really see the power of SAP Analytics by integrating all the relevant backend data under one roof. So this is very helpful for every warehouse manager. Then I would like to also show the inbound page where we can see the major KPIs like differences in a good receipt. We can see the amount of time we need for put away. We can define the thresholds. We can define different areas like raw, semi-finished goods. It can be defined for example, frozen storage, or temperature controlled areas, etc. We can have KPIs showing us the inspection status of open deliveries or what is the status of inspection lots. So everything can be combined under one page, which is really amazing. One amazing feature of SAP Analytics is like a predictive analytics. So you can see here the timeline actually showing value for December and January, and that's basically a result of the functionality of the SAP Analytics. So we can have some expectation and some estimate, and based on that estimate, we can actually plan our workload and our resources, which is, I think, also a very great feature. Good. So that's all for the major KPIs. Now I would like maybe to hand over back to Lisa and maybe to listen to hear our panelists.
Thank you very much, Peter. Can you share the presentation again? Thank you. So thank you very much to everybody for joining, and now we would actually like to welcome our panelists today from Baljaraf Group. Hello, Sajid Riaf. And can you maybe shortly introduce yourself or share your experience with Westernacher and the project they did?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Hello.
Yeah. Hi. Hi Peter. Hi Florian.
Hello, Sajid.
How are you doing? I'll be to the point. Okay. Who's the intended audience for this for these dashboards?
Usually it would be everybody who is steering your warehouse operations, right? So really people working with it.
Warehouse managers, supervisors.
Yes, definitely. It could be even shift supervisors, for example, within the warehouse if they are working mobile. So you need to be able to have some kind of workstation and time to look at it, of course.
Okay, and we know in EWM we have cockpits, monitors. So how is it helping exactly? You know, I mean, we do have cockpit and monitors. So to some extent, we know what is happening with inbound delivery, outbound delivery, if there are alerts.
That's right. What you have here, or what is the difference from my side here is the first thing is you don't need to be logged onto EWM. So you could do it on a mobile device or any other device. That's the first thing. So you don't need to necessarily go into it. The other thing is the monitors we have in EWM sometimes make it a bit tough to look at an aggregated level. Yeah, so it's very good to look at the transactional level of things. To follow single transactions or a small bunch of transactions, but having a bit bigger picture is sometimes a bit difficult. And this is where it really helps to really give an overview what's happening in the whole warehouse and then filter down to things.
Okay, agree. It is simpler, easier to see everything in one place. Okay, compared to what we get in EWM. Mobile device, I don't know, because most of the time these people who are working in a warehouse, they will be sitting with the PC. I don't know why they should be using on a mobile device, unless until they are traveling or they are somewhere far. So yes, people like logistic directors, if they want to get into a warehouse and let's say some country, this is useful for them, but not for people who are directly managing it. I don't know. I'm just asking. Let's try and explore.
Actually, let's say the more operative you get, the more interesting it can be, because if you really need to walk through the warehouse to check something, you don't need to go back to your, let's say, workplace to do something. Then you could have it mobile with you. So if you're really coordinating things directly, but this is very operative, to be quite honest. And this, of course, requires real-time data. Otherwise, that, of course, doesn't really help. I agree.
Okay. It's a very good effort, you know, and the look is very nice. I have logged in myself a couple of days ago, and I've actually drilled down.
Okay.
And I can understand that it is configurable. You can put more KPIs into it, and you can see dashboard. Not everything, but to some extent, certain things can be there as per your business. I have asked for example, Peter, I think you responded to my email on the expiries, product expiries, if I'm not mistaken, where I was asking for something like a aging, where you can list down what is already expired, what is going to be expired from now till the next 30 days.
That's correct. The expiration is a big topic for sure. We can have this KPI maybe probably shown in the warehouse manager office. I would say not really a KPI for the shop floor operators. I would say. Yeah, but
I'll tell you why I mentioned that. Okay, if it is for warehouse, the value, it's not that important, you know, because those guys are not interested in seeing what is expiring when. This is, but if you want to expand the audience, okay, and if you want a better buy-in for the product, and let's say your sales staff can also see, sales directors can see, sales managers can, you know, also access this warehouse in terms of certain different set of dashboards, not the operational dashboards. So if you know the dashboards are working by user. So for example, if I log in and I'm like you know I'm a GM of sales.
Yes.
I don't know.
That's actually the good thing about the platform we're having. You can combine information from different dashboards to really what you need. Yeah. So if you're for example, a salesperson who just needs to know what is on stock, or where do I have today a problem in my warehouse, so I cannot really promise a delivery today anymore because I know they are already a bit behind. Something like that is doable. And of course have as well my sales data on the other side of the dashboard. So it's really highly configurable and really tailorable to what you need.
So in that case, you will have a bigger audience, not only the warehouse or logistic guys, and you can include management, CEOs, okay, plus different hierarchies from sales, and this product will be more valuable. I'm speaking from the experience which I have got through, now we belong to food industry, and there are many such companies like us where expiries are a big thing. Dairy, okay, milk. I was in, Arla. I don't know if you're aware. They are into milk.
Yes,
now,
I know.
Yeah, the expiry is very short. I think 3 days, 4 days. In these type of businesses, or we have Almarai here. So in these type of businesses, where something is going to expire and there's damages, expiries in 3 days, or what is going to expire, let's say day after tomorrow, maybe they want to get rid of it today. This is really useful for the sales staff.
Yes.
Now, the kind of problem we are facing, we're not getting buy-ins from the sale. All right, on this new system.
Understood.
Yeah, so this is one area which could be useful. We were talking about resource management, right?
Yes, there are KPIs which are showing the aggregated duration time, inbound, outbound resource as well.
We are trying to do something through reports where we are trying to see how we are utilizing resources in the warehouse, and not only in terms of how many people, how many hours, how many HUs they have moved, also in terms of what kind of costing is happening. We have linked the CTC cost per company of each resource, okay, in a table. And I think if Neil is there or is part of this session.
So Neil is part of the session, he's listening but traveling.
So he's aware of it, what we have done. So we can see in report in resource utilization report how much the forklift operators are going to cost us in October, for example. And this is helping us in the 3PL for the 3PL billing. So when we are actually charging our customers. So I don't know if it can go to if there's a need to go to that level, but in terms of resource utilization, how many people reported today, if there's a bottleneck due to which deliveries are suffering, that could be another thing.
I think that's a very, very good point, yes, to show a processing time for different activities and compare it maybe with line items or quantity which were processed. Yeah. So there's a whole new area, I would say.
As an overall thing, this is quite good. It's very simple. But if it is, I'm being very blunt. If it is meant for only people who are managing the warehouse, they have other ways of doing it. What is the compelling need for them to move to this? Move to this solution. Ease of use, that's the only thing, right? Now, and a little bit mobility with the guys moving in the warehouse. But if it is, if you take it for the larger audience and the senior management, it will be, the buy-in will come very quickly. And if they are the guys who are going to invest, easy.
I think especially for senior management, it can be very interesting if you have more than one warehouse, right? And you want to do a little analysis why they're different or why they're doing different, right? So this is something that can be easily derived out of it. So let's say with the data and the views we have, you can immediately do that. Yeah, and we have the connections to EWM in the background. It's just a matter on setting it up, let's say, into a management view.
We have 15 warehouses here in Saudi Arabia. We're running EWM in only one, and next year we will be rolling out we'll be rolling it for a couple of more warehouses. So I'm saying there are many companies here who will have multiple warehouses, and they want to see as a total what is happening. That's the only thing which I think, from my point of view, which can make it more stronger.
That was very good. Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Thank you so much for the input. That's really, really valuable.